been waiting to get out of the watch honeymoon before I did this review because I don't want to be so biased, but you know what? I'm not sure when the watch honeymoon is ever going to end with this Zenith Defy Classic 41 SK or skeletonized open work style dial with the Elite 670 caliber, grade 5 titanium, integrated bracelet, cool as can be. Arguably the coolest watch that I've ever purchased, in the years of me being a watch enthusiast. It's just that out there. Now, before I jump into the review, I want to thank Federico of Del Rey Watch, of Federico Talks Watches. He's the one that helped me find a great deal at an authorized dealer. So shout out, Fed. I really appreciate it. I'm absolutely loving this watch. And every time I look at my wrist, man, I'm just like, wow, look at that light play. The feather light nature of the grade 5 titanium, the open work dial, it truly is a stunner. So admittedly, I'm a little bit biased. It's a watch in my own rotation. I might be looking at it in a more favorable light than maybe some of you watching this right now. But I will try to be objective in my giddiness and talk about the areas for improvement if there are any. And hopefully you find this video beneficial, especially if you're considering, purchasing one, because it's not a cheap watch. It's a retail price $7,900 watch. And that is, stiff competition in its market at its price segment. So in this video, I'm going to drop in, pictures and clips and macro shots, lume shots, shots in natural light, shots in artificial light to help give you a good sense of what this watch is all about. And I'm just going to share my opinions as an owner, from that perspective. Now, the name Defy, it first debuted with Zenith over 5 decades ago in 1967. And the name is meant to invoke feelings of pushing the boundaries, forging ahead, ignoring the rules, and going forward. And when I think about that and I look at this watch, I think Zenith has managed to capture those feelings, with this piece. It is cutting edge. It is dang cool. And I feel it is appropriate of the lovely Defy name. Even though this particular version, the grade 5 titanium, debuted at Basel 2018. So it's really only been on the market for about 3 years, but it's quite the watch. So let's talk about the movement. This is really, I think, the star of the show, at least in the skeletonized version or this open work dial variation. Again, this is the Elite 670 caliber SK with 187 separate components, 50 hours of power reserve, a 4 hertz beat frequency, 27 joules, and a silicon escapement and a silicon pallet fork. Now, one of the things that I really like about this that is very uncommon is the fact that we have a bi-directional quickset date. Now, one, it's uncommon to have a date complication on an open work dial watch, especially to have it, not stick out like a sore thumb. This one, it doesn't. We have a skeletonized date disc, and only one day is highlighted down at the bottom portion of the dial just above the 6 o'clock cantilevered applied marker. And that is done by placing a white plane underneath one of the digits. And so you can see the date. And the rest of the date wheel just blends in with the architecture going on of the movement. So I like that. And even cooler, you can set the date in either directions via the crown at the 3 o'clock position. And you can do so without damaging the movement. So it's nice if you're kind of closer to one day, you don't have to cycle through a whole month nearly. You can just go a few days in the other direction. And I think that's kind of cool attention to detail. The watch will be crafted out of grade 5 titanium. We have a sapphire crystal, anti-reflective treatment, and I'm happy to report that it's pretty good anti-reflective treatment. It's not perfect. It's not, Breitling-esque or IWC-esque or Omega-esque in some instances, but it does do a dang good job. And I think that's very important on a watch that's this visually interesting, where the dial is celebrated. Now, a skeletonized dial, it's all about working with void. It's about working with form, the negative spaces, the holes, so to speak. But an open work dial is about using the architecture and showing off the structural integrity and all of the little components. It's more meant to be looked at in an artful way, I think. And so you want to be able to see the open work dial to a high degree of clarity. And I think Zenith, again, has done a nice job with that because, man, I have a hard time not looking at this watch while I'm wearing it. It does disappear. You know, it's grade 5 titanium. It's very light. It feels as light as a Grand Seiko snowflake. But when you look at your wrist, you're reminded that it's there because there is so much light play. You know, right here, just sitting in the studio and doing a little bit of a wrist roll, you guys see all of the facets in light play coming off of the different angles off of this bracelet. And that's a very exciting thing. It's one of the reasons why I was so drawn to this watch and why, you know, I had to buy one. I had to try one because it's so pretty. And I don't know, call me a pack rat. I'm attracted to very pretty objects like the Zenith. And so, I mean, it looks beautiful. That's the first thing that you notice is all of the facets here. Now the bracelet, it's comfortable. There's not a lot of polish finish found here. We have a high polished chamfered edge on this tapering bracelet. We have rather short H links connected with screw pins. But I mean, the light play, it's worth it. I really considered going with a ceramic variation because I identify with, you know, the scratch resistance, the lightweight nature, the colors, how cool they look. But none of those come with a dynamic bracelet. They come with a comfortable rubber strap. And I wanted that light play. I kind of wanted that romance, that that shine that is so exciting. And so I had to buy the titanium variation, even though I greatly respect the ceramic variations. This one is just the one that spoke to me. Now, before I get, too biased here, let's talk about areas for improvement because I don't know that there is a perfect watch out there. This one is pretty dang close. I mean, it's completely accurate. Mine's running plus 1 second per day. I guess you could argue that the power reserve could be better. We're living in a day and an age where 70 hours is kind of becoming the norm. 80 hours is not uncommon, in Swatch Group products. This is not a Swatch Group product, but 50 hours I think is respectable. It's better than what we've been used to from ETA over the past, 10, 20 years, but maybe that could be improved a little bit. I'm nitpicking though. I'm totally happy with 50 hours. Another area is maybe do a screw down crown. We have 100 meters of water resistance, and a screw down crown really just offers that peace of mind that a lot of us look for when we want to use our watches in water. But I will say, anytime I'm going to be immersing my watch in water, let's say I'm going rafting, I'm going fishing, whatever the activity may be, I'm either grabbing my G-Shock or I'm grabbing one of my dive watches. So again, I'm not as fussed with a push-pull crown, although maybe a screw-down crown, maybe that would be a better answer. Other than that, I mean, I'm not sure. Hey, actually, here's one more thing. I really like, again, the bracelet is a highlight of the watch. And as I do a wrist roll, notice how seamless it looks. There is no kind of bulky clasp taking up real estate on the back half of the watch. But with the clasp, you have the ability to put in micro adjustments and really fine tune the fit, tailor it to you perfectly as a watch enthusiast. And with this, you get a good fit, yes, but it's not quite as customizable as a clasp with micro adjustment positions would be. With this one, you just have, the option of adding a link or taking a link out. There are no half links with this watch. So that could be a deal breaker for some of you. And if that's the case, but you're absolutely struck in love with everything else about the watch, I'd say maybe go with a rubber strap variation where you can get a little bit more adjustment as opposed to the bracelet. But man, the bracelet, this is where it's at in my opinion. But guys, this has kind of been my biased presentation of a very lovely watch, the coolest watch in my collection, probably the coolest watch I've ever bought or may ever buy in the future. It is that good. It's out there. I think it's worth it. I know the watch doesn't have the best resale value, but I think over time, people are going to catch on with the Defy and it's going to start creeping up, especially as other brands have supply chain issues and some of their models become so popular you just can't seem to get your hands on them at a reasonable price new. It's going to push watch enthusiasts out to other awesome kind of unheralded releases currently on the market, and I think the Defy is primed for an explosion in popularity because it's solid all the way around. So I want to thank you for taking the time to watch today, and let me know if you have any questions. These are unscripted reviews, and so sometimes I stumble over my language, And I get so excited I miss things or I don't convey a point very clearly. So if you have any questions, please let me know. Put it in the comment section. I'll do my best to try to answer and help out. Thanks again, and hope you guys have a great day. See you next time.